You are 2 weeks into a new psoriasis treatment. You look in the mirror and your skin still looks the same. The anxiety kicks in. Is this treatment failing you, or do you just need to give it more time? First, I'm going to show you what healing looks like. For context, I have plaque psoriasis. It is the most common form of psoriasis, characterized by large red patches with scales. The first signs of psoriasis healing and your treatment working is the thinning of the patches, and it usually starts in the middle. Let me show you exactly what I mean. Here are my legs. This was from my worst flare-up ever so far. Hopefully I don't beat this because it is already severe enough. Now I want you to focus on the patches on the back of my legs first. I am going to pause this video so you can observe. Take note of the thickness of the scales. You could probably even feel the dryness through your screen. The patches, they look full. There are little gaps within, apart from areas where it has not spread to yet. Now I'm going to turn around and I want you to make the same observation on the front of my legs, particularly at the areas of my shins. Right here, I'm going to pause the video again and give you a few seconds to make your observations. Look at how the overall skin looks. Now, did you notice that on my shins, within the psoriasis patches, they look red, but they are thin? Let me put these two footages side by side so you can see it better. On the back of my legs, the areas that psoriasis has not spread to yet has my normal skin color. It just looks like healthy skin. But on my shins, it still looks red, but it is noticeably thinner in the middle. In my experience with my particular genetics and condition, it is usually a good sign when it starts thinning out in the middle. It is the chance of achieving remission. Notice that I said chance because while this is a good sign, it is not a guarantee. But in my case, it was actually a good sign. Let me show you some more progress videos. Here are my legs again in a different angle so you can see clearly which part is healing. Keep this in mind because as we continue the video, not only can you see similarities, but I will also introduce a brand new observation for signs of healing. Here is another footage from the same flare-up, this time of my arms. Try to think back on your initial observations when we were looking at the back of my legs. I will pause the video here and you will notice the same thing. Thick patches with no thinning in the middle. Next, here is the progress. Big difference. Same observations that can be made. But what is this new thing that you can see? And as I go to the next video, it should be even more apparent. Can you tell? Let me point it out. It is how the flakes look like. In the flared-up state, the scales are thick and in large pieces. But as the healing progresses, it becomes a lot more powdery. Now let's take all of these observations and show you my back. Here you will see everything we have talked about. Notice how powdery my skin has become. It is everywhere. Patches are thin in the middle with just the outer ring left. And finally, just to close this chapter, here's my back 3 weeks later. The edges are just hanging on, but it went away soon enough. So, in summary, you know that your treatment is working when your psoriasis starts to thin in the middle and you start to see your actual skin color. The flakes also becomes a lot more powdery. Next, let's talk about failure. Unsurprisingly, I have also experienced it. But the silver lining is I have footage to show you. Keep in mind that relapse and remission cycles are very common. A treatment that worked initially might fail. Clear skin can become scales again. For context, I just got off cyclosporine, which was what gave me the remission that you saw previously, and I switched over to methotrexate soon after. The reason for switching is because cyclosporine is dangerous, so dangerous that the FDA only approved it for use of up to a year. Anyway, let me start this segment with the back of my legs again. This was about a year after achieving remission. There is a patch on my leg again. And usually, the first signs of your treatment failing is stagnation followed by regression. Now, do you notice some similarities from the remission segment? Well, it's interesting to note that my relapse mirrors my remission. The patches starts from the edges and starts growing inwards, trying to join together into a bigger patch, which it does. As I cycle through these progress pictures, you can see the spots growing larger, becoming thicker, and the color starts shifting from pink to red. Now, you might be wondering, what can we do here if that's what you're observing from your own skin? Well, hopefully you're already seeing a dermatologist. If they are, they should make some adjustments to your treatment. That is what my dermatologist did for me. I started to increase the dosage of methotrexate I'm taking, but unfortunately that did not help either. So after around 6 months of using methotrexate, I switched to Enjavita, which cleared my skin again. So if you start seeing patches growing thicker, forming a ring, and slowly creeping into a full patch, what should you do? Seeing no progress does not automatically mean that your treatment is failing. There is a difference between a treatment that is working slowly and one that is actually failing. Take my use of methotrexate as an example. When the patches started to regress, my dermatologist did not switch me to another treatment immediately. They increased the dosage first, monitor, and then make the decision to stop. But when do we actually need to stop? To answer that, let's look at the official clinical guidelines from the National Psoriasis Foundation. According to them, the standard timeline to allow a treatment to work before evaluating is 3 months. Their guideline is simple. By the 3-month milestone, your treatment should ideally have reduced your psoriasis down to 1% or less of your body surface area. If you are wondering how to measure 1%, it is the size of your palm, including fingers. And if this 3-month milestone isn't met, there are 2 options. The first being 75% improvement. This is considered an acceptable response, where if you meet this, then you wait and see. However, if the acceptable response isn't met, then changing a dose, adding a new treatment, or even changing it completely are all possibilities. In my case, I increased my methotrexate dosage from 7.5 mg to 12.5 mg and then switched to Enjavita when that still did not work out. So, if you're only a few weeks into a new treatment and your skin still looks the same, don't give up just yet. At 3 months, see if your skin improves, ask your dermatologist for options, increasing dosage, etc. Psoriasis is in a way trial and error. A failed treatment isn't necessarily a dead end. It's just that you need to find the treatment that works for you. So far in my own journey, I have failed azathioprine, methotrexate, and my second round of phototherapy. But there have also been treatments that have worked out well, so you will find your treatment too.